What's up, you guys? It's 2Bricks, and today I have a very special treat for you guys. It's actually the first video of its kind that I've ever done on the channel. It's a review of a MOC that I didn't actually create. What you're looking at here is the incredible space shuttle model created by my good friend King's Knight Bricks, who very kindly decided to loan me the model so that I could show it to all of you guys. This is a model with a very storied history, and I knew that once the instructions were available for this and you could actually purchase them for yourself, that I just had to show you guys this model on my channel. So to give you a little bit of background on it, this original design created by King's Knight was submitted to LEGO Ideas way back when, and gained the 10,000 votes needed to move through to the approval phase. It was not selected to become a set. I think there's something about space, realistic space sets. There was a little bit of a bias working against it because there have been a lot of really successful space-themed sets for the LEGO Ideas line already, which to me I think is a great shame, because this is an absolutely incredible model, as you guys are going to see. It's absolutely packed with play features and really realistic details, and the coolest thing of all is if you happen to get the Saturn V LEGO Ideas set already, this piece is actually to scale with that model, and so you could put them side by side on a shelf and have two absolutely incredible pieces of space history in LEGO at the same scale for your collection. So that's a little bit of the kind of background history of this model, and what you're looking at now is the most current iteration of it. There have been a couple of really major improvements since the Ideas version. Number one being the whole cockpit section was previously using a single piece. King's Knight tells me that that was the seed piece for the model. And it's like a standard kind of plain shuttle cockpit that LEGO has used for quite some years. And it happened to work out really well for the scale, and that has now been replaced. And so the original inspiration is gone, and we have a fully brick-built cockpit which looks just absolutely incredible, and best of all, doesn't rely on stickers to get the details across. The details are all in the bricks themselves, so that's really awesome. So I'm going to be taking you guys through a close-up look at all of the different parts of the model, the things that really stood out to me, and the things that I think are awesome about it. And without further preamble, let's just dive in and take a look. Alright, so the model's currently sitting on its stand, and I'll just show you guys a couple of little things that I like. It got the custom sort of UCS style plate in here with the custom sticker on it for the Space Shuttle program. I think that's a nice touch. It's always kind of makes it feel a little bit more classy when you have that. We have these really nice brick-built engines back here, and I'm going to give you guys a close-up look at all the engine assemblies back here as well. Movable flaps, which are really nice to be able to adjust the wing angles, and also the air brakes back here, which I will show you guys up a little bit more closely when we take a look at that. It's currently set up with the Endeavour kind of livery here, and of course you've got the NASA logo there, but King's Knight, who designed the MOC, is insanely NASA knowledgeable and detail oriented, so he's included a sticker sheet with the different configurations for different eras of NASA logo and different shuttle names as well, which each of which has significance to the space program. So that's really cool. You have another custom sticker here with the USA and the flag and everything, and then these really accurate these little black elements that are spread out throughout here. Super duper accurate to the actual color scheme, like this little element right here. There's a stripe that comes through here that you can see on the real thing. I believe that it's actually an unbroken stripe on the real thing, but of course the technique to be able to get these two fins to attach required that line to get broken. And then on the real thing, I think there's also a couple of black dots down here that are not represented in here in the model, but it's a really small detail. But essentially everything that you could possibly hope to see and the proportions that you would hope to see for the space shuttle are represented here absolutely perfectly. I love the technique down here. Let me pull this in closer to show you guys for the detail on the wing, for the shape, and also to get that gray stripe in there that kind of just meets so perfectly, so smoothly in, kind of just tapers off right here. I think the word perfect is going to get tossed around a lot in this review, but it is essentially perfect. I don't think that there's any way that you could possibly capture this shape any better using Lego bricks. So I think that's really awesome. We have some really nice details in here that's going to be a little bit hard to see. I'll show you the guys that up more closely when we take the shuttle off and take a look at the tanks and stuff. But I really like these authentic looking stripe details in here. And actually this is using a brand new piece that just came out this year. In fact, I think it may not even be mass available on the shelves yet, but it's something that you can order from, I believe Lego Bricks and Pieces made it available, and you can get them already on the secondary market. But it's these 4x4 tan round plates, which are used to give just the perfect coloring and detail to these stripes down here. I really like the way that he's integrated the portions here where it actually connects into the shuttle, because they don't stand out too much, and they have, again, the appropriate colors in here with the little gray elements. And yeah, that just works out great. Little touches like just having this this piece right here that is the tan color. You know, it's things that aren't necessary for the accuracy of the model, but just which really or which aren't necessary for people who aren't obsessive about accuracy, but that really sells it. So then, yeah, I'll give you guys another shot up at the top here, but just you can already see that the shape that you want for the front of the lander here is just absolutely perfect. So one thing that's really cool is that the shape and the way that this worked out, you have a single strip of plates down the middle of this section, and instead of being just a something that relies on rounded pieces, because it's built up with plates, that gives you a flat surface that you can place this down on the table, and you could even display it this way if you want to pretend that it's flying at you on the desk. You could take it off the stand and you could have that. So that works out really well, I think. But yeah, the shape here of the front of the cockpit, I love the way that this inverted round tile is placed inside of this hollow cone piece that just captures that absolutely perfectly. And then the shaping on all of this is really nice in here with the way that the rounded tiles just kind of finish off that detail, the way that the windows are achieved, and the fact that you can actually open this cockpit up and you can actually see the astronauts in there. There's actually 2 levels like in the real design, so you have the flight crew up there. You can actually remove this second section in here as well, and you can see the full crew in there ready to fly off. And then when this is back on the top, you can see how that looks. That's really cool. And then you can see down in here as well, you have the remainder of your crew on the below deck. So I think that is absolutely awesome. The fact that Lego did give us those nanofigs with the previous sets that they've done for, I believe that we got some of these for the previous space sets, just really helps to sell the scale of it, because you can really feel how big a person is in comparison to this vehicle. But yeah, so finishing off the shaping up here, I think just the use of these cheese wedge pieces in combination with the black rounded tile, the quarter round tiles in here, and that the way that this plate just cuts in, it just, if you look at photos of the real thing, it's absolutely spot on. I mean, you really can't get a more accurate shape. Even I can't even think of a way that Lego could possibly do it unless they molded a specific space shuttle, cockpit piece for just this ship. So that's absolutely great. And then, yeah, I love all the different hose details and stuff in here. And I'm just going to take this off really quick, and I'll show you guys the detail that you're getting all throughout here with the different hose piping. These are actually optional sticker pieces. There's a little note in the instructions about those, or sorry, not stickers, but optional printed pieces that just give you a little bit of extra hose pipe kind of detail. But I believe that standard in the instructions, these are plain gray. But yeah, all the angles at which he was able to achieve with the hose piping through here, and the colors that are all super accurate, is absolutely wonderful. And then going down here, down the tank, you can see that the grill details are exactly how that they should be. And if you get the instructions for this, you can actually, I like that this is going the other way, because on the actual design you have the different angles, or the different orientation of these grills. That's all super duper accurate. But if you do get the instructions, you'll see that the way that this all comes together, especially the internal structure for this portion, and then the way that this comes together at the front here, is really ingenious, and it relies on a lot of super clever techniques that I learned a bunch just perusing the instructions for this. and seeing how it all comes together. But I really like how this is all just hinged in, and it all just meets perfectly at the top and comes together with this dish on the top, this 3x3, and a little tip here with the harpoon. It just works out so nicely, and the way that the angles all meet, like there isn't, sometimes with Lego, when you're marrying a bunch of slopes together, you get some kind of awkward angles. Like in the most recent UCS Batmobile, the front section, they had a lot of similar techniques to this with hinged slopes, and I felt like there was a lot of kind of that awkward area where the slopes would meet that just didn't look quite right, and I think this shape is just absolutely perfect in here. I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at the underside as well before I move on to the details for the inside of the lander, and I really like the little suggestion of the flames in here. Obviously, this is where all the action happens as far as the flames are concerned, but I do like that we have just the little orange indication for that. And then these relatively new gray, light bluish gray bucket pieces. I like that King's Knight is taking full advantage of all of the most recent pieces. I think these were just done for the UCS Star Destroyer from I believe last year it was, or was it earlier this year? But relatively new and absolutely perfect for the shape that you need in here. Again, there's that word again, but what else can you say about it? I mean, it captures the exact shape that you want to have and in the correct color for this portion of the assembly. So yeah, really, really nice stuff. And I also like the fact that when you attach the lander back on here, I'm going to show you guys a full kind of action feature sort of, you know, launch sequence later on of how you can take all the different parts apart. But I really like that it's super simple and very sturdy to attach the shuttle back just with these two attachment points in here. So for the lander itself, like I was saying before, I love the look of the engine assemblies back here that use all these different sizes of cone piece to get the exact right shape for these engines. They're angled up in a really clever way and angled absolutely in the correct way. You have this really nice detail down here with the flap and the way that it just comes in and gives you the exact shape of that this whole heat shield section underneath here. Really, really nicely achieved. And what's more, you have working landing gear as well, which, I mean, what more could you really ask for? So these deploy super easily, and once again, King's Knight has given you an optional printed piece that you could rely on to get some extra detail in these tires, but those are really rare pieces, and so in the instructions you have the option to either get the plain black or these, and it shows you where to substitute them and, you know, which ones to buy if you don't want that. But there is the lander on its landing gear, and it looks great. I think if I were to have this set, I would kind of alternate between just displaying it like this and then having it with the tanks and everything, because I just think that the design of the lander is you know, my favorite part of the whole shuttle package, I guess. I just think it's such a quintessentially cool space vehicle, and you know, one of the coolest ever made. And yeah, just looking at this gives me a lot of joy. I really, really love the angle that King's Knight was able to achieve with this back fin. It's attached in a really, really clever way. Again, one of the things that I really love about this is it's educational in multiple ways, because it encourages you to want to learn more about the space shuttle program like I did, and it also encourages you to look at some of the interesting engineering things. Like I didn't even realize that these air brakes back here, I've seen multiple shuttle launches and shuttle landings, but I never noticed that these air brakes back here open up and split in two like that. And that is what really happens when it comes in for landing. So I think that's really, really cool. And then, yeah, just the education that you get from learning the different techniques to achieve all of these angles. Like, I would never have thought of the way that these engines are attached. You know, I won't spoil it for you, but they're really, really cleverly done. And it's really simple, but it's in a way that just gives you something to kind of think about as how Lego pieces can be used. So I think that's really awesome. And yeah, like I say, the way that this is achieved is super clever with these relatively new clip pieces being attached in here sideways, relying on some of those bar holder pieces that are just buried inside of here to hold all this in. And when it comes together, it has that really nice thin form factor that's just, it's just exactly what you want to see. Then when you open up this whole thing, and if I did have one criticism about this model, it would be that owing to the fact that these pieces, which are the right piece, and I can't think of what else you would possibly want to use, but the way that they're attached through multiple points down here can make opening this up feel a little bit precarious because it's really, really stiff. I always feel like I'm going to break it. But it's super secure, and the body itself in here is super securely done. It's just that the doors have, across here there's limited studs that you can use to attach, to hold it all together. So that is one thing when you can't, like, I mean, you can. I was going to say you can't close the doors with one hand. Clearly you can, I just did, but yeah, it's just a little bit stiff. But then, you know, if you had less attachment points, you would have gaps down here, which would be unsightly. So it's kind of one of those trade-off things where I think the accuracy is a better solution for this, but it does just result in a little bit of a difficult open. But yeah, I like how this tile is used here to perfectly hold the door in at the right angle, and it's not particularly intrusive into the design, and it just sits exactly at the right spot. And I love how smooth all of this is down in here. I'm just moving the cannon arm out of the way to show you guys, but it just looks so, it looks so sci-fi to me. I love it. I know that it's real, it's not fictional, but it just makes me think of classic sci-fi movies to see all those white panels in there all clean and all nicely smoothed off like that. And you do have a lot of space in here. Obviously this is an appropriate amount of cargo space. It's reflective of the real design. The Hubble telescope was delivered in a space that is this size, as well as dozens or probably hundreds of other different satellites and different cargo for the ISS, the International Space Station. You have a superposable Canadarm in here, which can it can swing around. I don't want to break anything. There you go. So you can rotate that all the way around. Almost, what would you say that is? Not 360, maybe 280 degrees all the way around. And then you can get the full, obviously, each of the joints posed up really nicely. And then you can just place it back down when you're done with it, and it just lays flat in there like that. And then I believe that this is the docking ring here, where you would dock with the ISS, but I'm not 100% certain about that. But the detail in here, again, is achieved with a little bit of a printed piece to kind of add to the detail, but you can, again, substitute that. It's a pretty rare piece, but you can substitute that piece in there. I'm not actually sure what this arm does. I should look this up. See, this is the thing. Now I'm curious. Oh, what does this arm do? So I'm going to go find out after this review is done, and it's just going to give me a little bit more knowledge about the Space Shuttle program. But yeah, I love the way that the inside of this looks, and I'll just show you guys again with the crew compartment taken out. You have a little bit more space and a little bit more light that can get in there. You can see how that looks. I think it looks really, really cool. And then with the crew module here, I didn't show you that from the back. Yeah, the proper cockpit, I guess you'd say. And there you go. And again, that is decorated up with the Endeavour, but you can customize it. So there that is. Let me just fold this back up and give you guys another look at it from the underside. I think that the proportions that you can see from the bottom here, again, look really nice. I think, you know, one of the things we're used to seeing from the shuttle is that underside of the heat shield as it's coming in, and it is very flat like it is on here, and it just is represented really, really well. I think the undersides of these studs actually work in its favor, I think, to kind of mimic the pattern of the ceramic tiles that they use for the bottom here for the heat shield. So yeah, I think this just looks absolutely perfect. Oh yeah, and let me show you the range of motion you can get on these fins too. You can really, really lift those up. All right, so last thing I want to show you guys is just the kind of play patterns that I think kids could do if they had this model. I would say that this is a definitely intermediate to advanced level model, so if you are considering getting it for your kids, it might be a really fun project for, you know, parents and kids to do together and sit at the table and really learn a little bit about space and put together a really, really incredible looking model. So yeah, I cannot imagine a more fun weekend activity for a family to do. So that's really cool. And then, you know, of course, once you're done with it, you have all of the different play features, like I said, and play patterns that you can kind of initiate. So, you know, you could pretend, obviously this is not what you'd consider an accurate launch platform, but you can pretend that the shuttle is getting ready to take off. You can, load up all your astronauts into this section and place them in there and just pretend that they've been brought in on the little tower there and they're just ready to launch. You can do your countdown, and then when it's all set to go, you can just basically just pick up the whole thing really easily and just launch your space shuttle off. And it does get caught just a little bit there if you're not careful, but yeah, you launch off and you're off into space. And I realized I never gave you guys a look at the stand on its own, so let me just give you a quick look at that. It's the bare bones as far as what you need to safely display the shuttle, and the backside of the lander just sits right on the edge of this plate right here, and it just gives it exactly the right amount of support that it needs. And I like that you can line up the engines with these little rounded plates down here, and there is actually a stud connection just in these this one stud for each side for the engines, and that just gives you that just lets you know that it's in there securely, and then these brackets will hold it all in place very nicely. So once you've launched your shuttle, let me bring that back over. You're flying into space, and then you want to ditch your your stage 1 separation with these first booster rockets. You just pull them off. They're just held in with Technic pins, and they just come right off. Oops. Now it's out of balance, but see, it still sits. Yeah, and then you just discard this this section right here. And I really like the way that it's very obvious where those go. So once you do pull them off, I mean, there's no question in your mind where those are supposed to go. And then I'll just swing this around. We can do the other side, and we just discard these. So now we're in space, and we've cleared the atmosphere. Oops, I knocked off a piece. That's all right. It's just this one tile right here. So yeah, we're in space now. We no longer have a need for that, and then we can actually disengage the shuttle itself really easily. Again, just pull up on both. Sorry, it's hard with one hand, and then we release the shuttle lander part as well, and then we can again see, like I was mentioning before, the simple just 2-point connection. We disregard that, and then we're just down to the shuttle. It can go. You can open it up. You can dock with your ISS imaginary model or one that you've made yourself. Hey, why not? Yeah, this is actually where it does dock. So you open up, you can dock with the ISS. Your crew can deploy their payload, or if they're going just into space, they can just deploy whatever satellite you've created to go inside of this space. You can pull that out, and that's ready to go. Or you can do a spacewalk. You can grab your astronauts, place them outside on the wing or wherever you like. I mean, there are some studded surfaces all around, so you can pretend that the astronauts are out doing some work on the shuttle. And then you can get ready, pack everything up, and you can head back down to Earth, deploy the landing gear, and come in for a safe landing, deploy the air brakes, when you get down to the bottom. There's no parachute included for this, but again, just you have to use your imagination for that. But essentially, everything that you need to get your shuttle into space and then back down to the ground safely can all be kind of run through with kids who are really interested in space stuff. I think they'll really get a kick out of that. So I think as a display set, it works fantastically, and as a play set, it works really well. And this is solid. I mean, it's a rugged piece. You can just pick it up and play with it. Even by the back wing, you can just pick it up. The wings themselves, any place that a kid wants to just grab and hold onto this, they can do so. And even these portions, which sometimes can be a little bit finicky, they're not. They're actually really nice and secure. So there's just there's a really nice robustness to this that I think screams a classic kid's toy and something that a kid would definitely have in their bedroom growing up. So yeah, I absolutely love that about it. It's spot on as far as the proportions and the accuracy. It plays really well, and it looks fantastic on a shelf. So there you have it, you guys. There is the Space Shuttle MOC by King's Knight Bricks. All of the relevant details will be down in the description as to where you can get the instructions, where you can follow King's Knight and see more of his work. And honestly, I told him that I was going to try to be as fair as I possibly could about this model, and I really don't think that I have anything negative to say about it. I think that if you already have the Saturn V, and if you already have the International Space Station, and you have a kid or someone in your family who's a space or a NASA enthusiast, or in adults, you know. I mean, of course, there's plenty of NASA enthusiast adults out there. This is a no-brainer. I mean, I just think it's something you've got to have in your house. It's absolutely just a wonderful piece. And I think the thing that I like possibly the most about it is the fact that it's inspirational. When I look at this, I'm reminded of the fact that human beings made this vehicle. We made a thing that could go to space and come back, and then go to space again and come back, and just keep doing it. And it's probably the most iconic run of missions that NASA has done since the moon landings. And, you know, like I said, during this time when looking outside fills me with dread, looking at this model gives me some hope and some inspiration that, you know, and it just reminds me that we can do great things if we really put our minds to it. So the only thing that I really regret about doing this is that I have to give the model back, but I'll probably go ahead and purchase my own instructions and build the model myself, because it is absolutely a wonderful piece. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this review, if you want to see more, or if you want to see more things like this where I take a look at the work of people who are not myself, please let me know. I had a really fun time reviewing this piece. It's something that I think I would like to do more of if you guys are interested in it. And hopefully they're just, I mean, there are so many incredible MOCs out there that I would love to review, but I just don't have the required funds to purchase some of the more extreme ones that are out there on the market. But this, I think, is actually a really reasonable MOC to purchase, because the piece count isn't so dense that it's going to really bust you up. So yeah, check out the instructions for that if you're interested. Give King's Knight a follow on Instagram. His stuff is really, really great. He's got some really cool models in the works, I hear, so give him a shout over there and tell him 2Bricks sent you. And that's going to be it from me today, you guys. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff, liking, subscribing, etc. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks, you guys.